Okay, Unit 8 Test Study Guide, question number 19. A number cube is rolled once. What's the probability of getting a 2? The probability of getting an even? Okay, all of these problems. Probability, the definition of probability. It is the favorable outcomes over the total possible outcomes. The sample space for this is just the list of the numbers you could get. You could get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. Favorable outcomes are what we're looking for. So the probability of getting 2, there is only 1 2 out of 6 possible outcomes. That's the probability of rolling a 2. The probability of getting an even, favorable outcomes would be a 2, a 4, or a 6. So there are 3 favorable, again, out of 6 total possible. Reduce that, those can both be divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. You have a 1/2 probability of getting an even. Probability of a number greater than 4. Greater than 4? 4 is not greater than 4. The only numbers that would be greater than 4 would be 5 or 6. Those are the favorable outcomes, so there are two of them that are favorable out of 6 possible. Again, reduce the fraction. These both can be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. The probability then of getting a number greater than 4 is 1/3. Less than or equal to 4. 4 is equal to 4, so anything that would be 4 or smaller would be a favorable answer. So 4, 3, 2, or 1 would be less than or equal to 4. That is 4 favorable answers or outcomes out of 6 possible. Again, to reduce, these can both be divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's the probability of getting, 2/3 is the probability of getting a number that is less than or equal to 4. Number 20. A coin is tossed once. The possible outcomes, your sample space, is that you can get either heads or tails. The probability of heads then, there's 1 favorable out of 2 possible. The probability of getting tails, again, 1 favorable out of 2 total possible. Not heads, well, that'd be the same as what's not heads would be tails. That'd be the same as the answer we just said. 1/2. 1 favorable out of 2 possible. Number 21. A coin is tossed and a number cube is rolled. I'm going to handle this 2 ways. One is, you could say the sample space for the coin is that you'd get either heads or tails. And the sample space for the number cube is again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. One way to do it is to take the probability of each of these occurrences and multiply them together. So the probability of heads is 1/2. The probability of a 4 is 1 out of 6. Multiply those together and you have the probability of both of them happening. So 1 times, when you multiply fractions, numerator times numerator, denominators times denominators, so the probability is 1/12. 1/12 is your answer here. You can do it just by using that method, or the other way to do it, make a sample space for the possible outcomes when you flip a coin and roll a dice. Since this is 2 events, I would urge you to use a Punnett square, or in this case, I guess you'd call it a Punnett rectangle. Along one side, list the outcomes you would have when you flip a coin. You could either get heads or tails. Along the other side of your square, list the outcomes you would get when you roll your dice. You could get a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. Then, inside your rectangle or your box, list your possible outcomes, which would be heads in 1, heads in 2, heads in 3, heads in 4, heads in 5, heads in 6. Or you would get tails in 1, tails in 2, tails in 3, tails in 4, tails in 5, tails in 6. 12 total possible outcomes. And again, you can multiply the possible outcomes for each event. 2 times 6, 12 possible outcomes. So the probability of getting tails and even, we can now just read it from the chart. Tails and even, the good answers would be T with a 2, T with a 4, T with a 6. That's 3 favorable out of 12 possible. That is our answer, except, yeah, we should reduce. They're both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So the probability of tails and even is 1/4. Probability of getting tails and a number that is less than 3. Okay, again, the key thing here, less than 3. 3 is not less than 3. There are only 2 favorable numbers then. That would be getting a 2 or a 1 on the number cube. Tails, just these 2 possible answers. These 2 are the favorable, T and a 1, T and a 2. So that is 2 favorable, again, out of 12 total possible. Again, reduce. Both can be divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 12 divided by 2 is 6. That is your probability of getting tails and a number that is less than 3.